Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? How are you doing?
Okay.
Good.
I'm glad I don't have my picture up because right before it was my turn to talk, I took a drink and spilled on myself.
You're like, whoa!
Viewer, as that countdown is going on, it's always a mad dash on my end to like I'm sharing things. I'm over here. I'm like, oh, I'll take a drink, maybe take a vape real quick. Oh, need to be ready. Mm-hmm. So we live stream without a plan, and this happened. Literally, this. It's not clickbait, although I do have a minor plan, so it's a little clickbait. We're gonna listen. We don't have any specific topics. There's a couple of things I looked up real quick before the show that I figured we'd talk about. Maybe a little Mandalorian trailer dropped a couple days ago. And of course, we're gonna do what we always do. We'll talk about things that we watched and consumed with our eyes
Okay.
and ears.
Yeah.
Not so much with our mouths.
No.
You don't get to know about my diet.
No.
Mine's boring.
I'm ashamed.
Yeah, we all are. We should be ashamed, I think. Anyway, but first, how are you two doing?
I was waiting for the Snyder Watch thing to just chime in there. I was like, again?
We did have a Snyder Watch. Was that last week?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Last week was a powerhouse episode.
Well, yeah, oh man. We were on another level.
Yeah.
It was almost like a throwback episode.
It was.
It almost had a number. Sort of.
90. I'll tell you this. So, viewer, if you're not subscribed to the podcast feed, there was actually an episode posted on there, so you might want to go check that out. Go grawlixpodcast.com. Find it on. It's got links to all your favorite directories. Anyway, my camera's all kinds of cockeyed. What's going on here? It's like my whole monitor, by the way. I'm trying to adjust. Anyway, 99.001 looks awful in text to me. After I did it, I was like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. But whatever.
I immediately regret my decision.
Yep. It's a joke that's not really funny, and it's also an eyesore. Speaking of Throwback Thursdays, something I contemplated doing, and maybe I'll get one ready, like just an old audio episode. Yeah, this will go over well with the live stream viewer. If we ever have to cancel an episode, maybe I'll get an old audio episode ready and throw it to video, and we'll do a replay.
Oh, like a live replay, a live premiere or whatever.
Yeah, because after I posted that episode to the podcast feed, I was looking through the podcast feed and chuckling to myself at some of our titles. And we came through, I got to the dangers of unicorning. And I was like, what was that about? So Melanie and I listened through part of that episode 44. So we're talking, I don't know, 2017, something like that. And we've been going long enough. If we want to do a throwback episode, we could throw back to the better part of a decade. We have a back catalog that spans a while.
I was going to say, we used to be all about evergreen content.
Yes.
And now we do nothing but topical.
It's so funny. Just before the stream, I hopped over to Twitter to share the live stream, which I didn't end up doing because I got sidetracked. But there was a tweet. Brandon Lapani is out there. He's still repping us. He's still promoting us like somebody was asking for a comic book podcast, and he suggested us. And so I had to reply. I'd be like, well, excuse me. I was like, well, in the last
Used
couple
to.
of years, we're more comic book adjacent. But if you search out our older episodes, they were more comic book focused. Look for the numbered episodes. And we used to aim for timeless as opposed to timely. So I was just talking about that like just before the stream. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, still, most of the stuff that we talk about has been in a comic book at some point in time.
Yeah, that's why we're comic book adjacent. Like
Yeah.
we're still in we're still in that nerdy area. It's just not so much with the comics. I'm gearing up though. I've been reading a comic book here or there, a little Doctor Who, gearing up to try to figure out what's going on in Batman because it's been literal years since I fell off Batman. I've been building back up that legally secured digital library.
He has bouts of like something will be his thing for a while, but then it'll change and he'll be on something else for a while. But he'll get back into it, and then it'll be a good chunk before we have to worry about it again.
It's almost like everybody in the world has ADHD. It's weird.
You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, I was born this way. What's everyone else's excuse?
They were too.
yeah,
They developed it in their
Okay, that's
adult
fair.
years. I don't know.
That's fair.
I never thought of myself as ADHD, and then I took one of those screeners, and I was like, "Oh boy."
Yeah,
Well-
I wouldn't have thought I was either, but I have more than half of all of the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting thing. This is totally off topic, but because I've thought about this a bit recently. First off, I hate that it is still like you try to look information up, and there's still so much like kids, ADHD,
Yeah.
and kids, and it's like, oh, that's a spam comment.
Oh yeah, Twitch spam.
Twitch spam. Hey, look, I was about to berate Twitch, but we do occasionally get a viewer from over there. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I like that name though. Hopeless Town.
It's totally on topic almost, like ADHD, hopeless.com.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, probably don't go to that. I don't know what that
Yeah,
does.
don't go that. We're not
I probably shouldn't have said
endorsing
the
that.
name, but yeah.
By the way, that is not the place that's not the URL I would think of to go to for like promotion.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's irritating that when it comes to like adult ADHD, like you can't find a lot of information, but I hadn't really, because it's attention deficit, hyperactive, whatever.
Yeah, I think the hyperactivity bit has been rebranded, so HD doesn't mean the same thing as it did when we were kids.
Okay.
I don't know what it means now, but yeah.
Well, I could drink more water, I suppose, so that might be appropriate.
Because it used to be ADD and ADHD, right?
Right. Well, I don't have a problem with attention. I mean, I guess but I had seen someone talking a while back about hyperfixation.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, what? And
Yeah.
like looking into that, and I'm like, oh, that's me. That's me
Right.
to a T. Like, you'll get into, and I guess the like attention deficit is like, if you're hyperfixated, you're not paying attention to anything else.
That's
Right.
me. That's me.
But they'll talk about, they're like, they'll get super fixated on something and not like eat or drink, and that's pretty extreme. But then I'm like, there are definitely days if I get sucked into a thing,
Right.
I'll sit there and I won't get up to get a drink of anything like all day and not even think about it.
Right.
More so like before before Melanie was living here with me, because when you got another person around, it kind of like pulls you out of it because
Right.
you got to interact with people. But if it's just like when it was just me here, whoa. So
Yeah.
anyway, not to talk about myself.
What are you, hyperfixating?
I tend to.
Yeah. People get really mad at me. Not always, but I will respond even, but I'm not listening at all. I'm totally doing what I'm doing, and I'm not paying attention to any of the rest of the world.
Most of the time she won't respond.
Well,
Yeah,
and what is it? Executive dysfunction when you can't like make a decision on things?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's another thing that I find a lot of adults have a problem with.
Yeah.
I've also heard, and this is maybe getting more personal and serious, but I've heard of somehow it playing also into like how it affects your relationships with people, and like you just won't see somebody for like, I don't know, months. People say months. I could say years.
Yeah.
And then you see somebody like, oh, hey. And they're like, it's been forever. And you're just like, oh, okay, I guess. But like, I don't know. Because it's out of sight, out of mind to an extreme. But again, I think it's that hyperfixation of like, it's not that don't think about people. It's just when I'm in a thing, I'm thinking about that and nothing else. It's not, don't take it personal. It's the world.
Right.
Real quick, speaking of not seeing somebody for months, hi, Savannah.
Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Savannah, welcome back. Get ready to get guilted.
No, we're not going to.
That was funny though. Like
Promptly.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
No.
Okay, we're not here to talk about ADHD or ADD or hyperfixation.
we don't know what we're here for.
To be fair, though, this show would not exist if I didn't have some form of hyperfixation on things.
That's
Right.
true.
Yeah. You're like, I like this so much, I better start a podcast about it.
Better start a podcast about this and do it for years. I better make
Yep.
podcasting my life.
I watch
least-
movies. I should make a podcast about movies.
I should make a podcast about movies.
Yeah. But you've always been, with the movies, you've always been good about that, like logging them and reviewing them and all that stuff.
Man, you're hitting all the things that was going through my head like just before the stream, because I pulled up Letterboxd to see what I was looking at, and I was like, how long have I been doing this? And 2012. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me every single movie you've watched in the last 11 years and what day you watched them on? Because I can.
Yeah, no kidding. Every single one. It's crazy.
I log them all.
Gotta log them all.
If you could do TV shows on here, I would. There used to be an app for that, and I loved it. But that gets a little extreme if you're logging every episode. I
Yeah.
would, but it gets
Jeez.
a little extreme.
No. Couldn't do it.
What, TV time, TV something. Man, that was a cool app until it like changed hands a couple times and got weird. And then it's like log TV shows to get free stickers. And I'm like, I don't want stickers. I just want to log.
And
the
they're
show.
like digital stickers too. They're like
Yeah.
the pre-NFT, you know?
Right.
Like this means nothing. What is this about?
I think they had a thing where, like, if you get so many, they'll send you a real one in the mail.
Yeah, and then it's like, but I don't know. They disappeared. I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Savannah said that's the level of OCD that the doctor put her on meds for.
Wait, I can get meds? I can talk to a doctor about this, because I tell you what, my medical doctor, he doesn't seem too keen on talking about mental health.
Oh,
Well, that's-
medical
yeah.
doctors, they would rather just give you pills for it. They'd be like, oh, you got a problem? Shut up. Here's a pill.
Right.
Well, even some psychologists are like that too. So
Right.
I want, what do you call it? Where they zap you, you know?
Electroshock therapy?
Yeah, they've made advances.
Really? You've said that. I've heard you say that before. I don't
Yeah.
like it. Don't say that. They've made advances. Sure.
They have.
Sure. It barely leaves a scar on the temples now.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It'd be like acupuncture, but Bride of Frankenstein level.
Isn't electroshock illegal?
Yeah.
I
Is
don't
it?
think it is.
Where did they make advances in this? What country with lax laws?
Yeah. How do you
No, in America.
how do you record these advances here?
Look it up. They do it. They also have like ones where they use magnets on your head, but I don't know if that works or not. And the other
I
ones
don't think we
has
could
a lot
even
of-
shock animals anymore.
Well, it just depends on how high the voltage is.
Blame Edison and his elephant for that.
He had an elephant? What is this?
When they were fighting over AC and DC, which was, or AC/DC and between direct current and alternating current, when they were fighting about that, he brought out an elephant to prove that direct current was less dangerous than alternating current, and electrocuted it in front of people. Yeah.
An elephant.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was gnarly. It's a gnarly scene. There's old film footage of it. You could probably find somewhere if you're so inclined.
That's a weird hill to die on.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
or to kill an elephant on.
I think it was less like showing how safe mine is, as opposed to like, no, we're gonna hit it with what is it, Tesla?
Yeah.
I think it was probably Tesla, yeah.
And show you
Tesla.
how dangerous his is. It's like they're both gonna mess you up, man.
You're not supposed to shock elephants.
Yeah.
It was propaganda. It was a whatism of that period.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? But an elephant with electricity.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like fighting, like arguing. It's kind of not to get timely or political. Timely, guns are timeless, I guess, if you think about it. But it's like arguing. Guns are safe. Watch me stab someone. Do you want that instead? Like,
I know. That's
It's the
why is
same
that
type
always
of
the
thing.
go-to? Like,
Yeah.
they banned guns in the UK, and think about all the stabbings.
right.
Yeah, but like in, I think it was Japan, they had a gang go out and stab people. Big gang. 9 people died. 9 people with a whole gang with knives.
Right.
In America, how many kids die every time there's a shooting with one person shooting?
Right.
Right.
So it's not at all the same. Sorry.
Ooh, hot button. Or common sense. But hey, whatever.
Potato, potato.
So, this seems like a good way to...
Speaking of gun violence.
gun violence.
I don't know. I was trying to segue. I don't know how to do it.
Since the theme tonight is we have no plan, speaking of gun violence. So I've been playing games, right? I play games. But at some point I got old, I guess, and decided I don't like gun violent games, right? But I think that's more like, I don't like army games, and like for so long that's like the main thing. Was
Call
just
of Duty,
like Call of
yeah.
Duty is like the biggest game and all that.
Yeah.
Well, now it's kind of evolved to where it's more cartoon murder games like Fortnite, where it's like, sure, you're shooting people with a gun, but look how wacky it is.
Right.
But I've been
You
playing,
can bounce up into the air with your hydromatic laser teleporter gun.
and I admit,
Zany.
it's fun to play a game where like you get to feel like you're awesome with a gun murdering. But I've been playing Red Dead quite a bit, and I think I have weird arbitrary rules for this. So Red Dead I think is fine because it's like Wild West. It's like a movie, right? It's not a war game. Even though like
Savannah says army games feel like bootlicking.
A bit.
I mean, they're literally recruitment tools. So
Oh, yeah. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, Overwatch looks fun. It's got a similar, like, I don't know, Fortnite-y vibe, except each character's got its own flavor.
Well, yeah, I wonder for me where that, like, like Fallout, awesome. I don't know, other, like, you start dialing up the sci-fi meter. At what point is it like, nah, okay, I like this. Like, what point am I personally, like, not? How about you guys? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think you're on the right page there. It's like, Call of Duty is a little too real, and why do we need to simulate that? Meanwhile, I could go through a haunted Walt Disney thing and let an ink demon chase me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was going to say, I think the difference is with army type ones, all you're doing is army things, killing people. That your whole goal is to go and kill a bunch of people. With the other games, you have other missions you do and things that are different and fun and weird, that make it exciting. Or at least, I don't know, less boring.
Right. I don't know. I seen some video where I don't know. It was basically, was it one of the Metro games? I don't know. Some game that came out where the first one like, it's like a post-apocalyptic game, right? But the first one had guns and stuff, and with zombies or whatever. And I think it's got kind of a focus on like traversal. So it's like you could do hardcore parkour running through the game and stuff. But it had guns and stuff like all games do. And they released the second one, and there are for the most part no guns. And the video is like the only gun in this game, although I guess that's not true. There's like kind of one-off guns you can get. Is like the comments were very upset with the removal of guns from this game. But I watched this video and I'm like, oh, I like that because the only like usable gun that you get to use is like so inefficient. But it's like a gun handle welded to a bar to make like a hammer, and that's what you get to use, and that's the only gun like reusable gun you get. And I watched that and I'm like, I love it. What is this game? I kind of want this game now. And I read through the comments. People hate it. They hated it. They're just like so unrealistic. Like I'm whoa.
Obviously, they just don't understand the way that things work because if there was an apocalypse and there were no more like gun and bullet manufacturers, most likely guns would be gone in a few hundred years or something. Maybe a little longer, but yeah.
Well, I mean that is the logic. I think that's kind of the logic in the game, right? And I don't disagree with the people in the comments. It's like people make their own bullets. Like people would, if it's like a rough world, I think people would figure it. Like Fallout 4, there's guns, but they're all like you piece them together, right? Like there's a lot of real janky like guns, but that's kind of the fun of it. And of course it's Fallout, so it's not totally realistic, but. I don't know. I don't know what the point of this was. Gun violence. What have you guys been watching lately? Anything interesting? Savannah says she don't think it's too hard to make gunpowder. Well, let me tell you exactly how to do it.
Rhinestones from gunpowder.
Sorry. Are you quoting ICP in there?
I did. I thought it was funny.
Magnets were already mentioned this episode, and I resisted the urge. At least you quoted a better period of ICP.
Yeah.
What have you guys been watching lately? Anything good?
I've been watching. Well, we just started the new series of Viking shows, which I don't even know if that show is still running, but it's called Vikings Valhalla, I think. And it's basically set 100 years after the first series.
Interesting.
And it follows Leif Erikson. And that was interesting. And we're only about 2 episodes in. But we're like, oh, it's still about the same level of quality. It doesn't feel quite the same, though. Like the original series had like the super produced opening sequence with music and whatnot, and this just has like a crazy CGI AR symbol looking thing, and then it just kicks in. Like there's no fanfare. It's just like time for the show.
Cool. Where was it? Savannah watched Wednesday in one day.
It's good, huh?
Was it a Wednesday?
It better have been a Wednesday.
Feels like the most appropriate day to watch a Wednesday, unless you're doing it on Sunday to be ironic.
Keeping in line with shows, Melanie and we've only watched one episode, but we watched an episode of Copenhagen Cowboy on Netflix. And the reason she watched it on a Saturday, of course, just tried to be difficult.
No, it makes sense.
You're right. You can't watch Wednesday on a Wednesday. She works on Wednesdays. Okay.
Hump day.
Copenhagen Cowboy is a series on Netflix that just came out, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. And if you know who that is, then you know what to expect. But he did Drive.
What does that mean?
If you know who that is, you know exactly what to expect, and that's what he does.
All right.
He has a very particular kind of style. It's he did Drive. He did Only God Forgives.
Oh, okay.
Neon Demon, which I have not seen yet. He also had done a series for Amazon, which I'd never seen. Oh yeah, we talked about Renfield. Was that episode before last?
Yeah. Oh, we watching it. We're gonna watch.
excited.
It's already on the books.
Yeah, we're excited for some.
Yeah.
Oh, she says Drive is awesome. Yeah, I mean, the show's not exactly like you can't exactly expect Drive if you're gonna start watching this show, but
it's got that feeling.
yeah, like you watch it and you're like, okay, I get it. It's a lot of like, not a lot of dialogue, a lot of people looking at other people, and a lot of like neon lighting and 80s sounds, 80s music and like uncomfortable, tense atmosphere. I don't know what the series on Amazon he did was. I don't recall. I really don't.
Did it have an awkward anti-hero?
Yes.
I mean, Drive definitely does. This show, oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this lady's deal is.
I'm assuming she's at least the main character, if not the hero, but she's definitely awkward.
Yeah, but she brings luck or something. It's got a weird premise.
Yeah.
And I have no idea where it's going. We've only watched one episode, but I thought I'd mention it because it's interesting and different for sure.
Well, with a name like Copenhagen Cowboy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of those shows, too, that, like, Nicholas Winding Refn is a director with a very specific style. He's a very stylistic director. And I could be wrong, but I believe he's directed every episode. So I'm usually a fan when a director I like is given a whole series, like, you direct all the episodes, like Mike Flanagan or David Lynch when he got to do the Twin Peaks: The Return. So, yeah. Listen, give these weirdos a bunch of money to make a series. I'm in.
So we can watch them on our phones.
So we watch them on our effing phones. We cannot mention David Lynch without going to that quote.
I can't. I love that. Love that quote.
Melanie, is there anything you watched other than that struck your fancy or that was of interest?
I don't know. What else did we watch, Tony?
We watched The Black Phone last night.
Oh, we watched The Black Phone last night. And that was okay. I don't know how scary it is, but it doesn't have to be because a lot of scary movies aren't scary. But it's interesting.
Yeah, Black Phone's a horror movie that came out recently. It's a weird movie to talk. I don't know what it takes place in the 70s. It nails the period very well. It's very interesting.
They must have spent a fortune on because like they had the kids eating cereal and it was like an old Wheaties box and they had like Cornish ware sitting up on the counter. So it was very time period authentic.
But I don't know, if you don't know anything about it, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's a horror thing. I guess the main is about kidnapping, so
well, not just kidnapping. There's a guy called the Grabber that's been taking kids. You can say that much.
It's got Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
And he actually might be, I enjoyed him in this, but I've seen reviews where people are like, how is like in this movie where it's full of like, it's not full of kids, but like most of the other leads are kids. Like the two leads are children. And they're like, how's he the worst actor out of them? I was like, okay, I kind of see their point because he's a little over the top and the kids are great. Like the leads in the movie are fantastic, but, and very grounded and real.
It's pretty bad when like you follow up a thing where you talk to a giant alligator god and we're like, he is not grounded.
Right.
Yeah. The boy reminds me of Brad Renfro, but he's good.
Who's his ex-wife? Oh, it's her name. What's her name? It escapes me.
Uma Thurman?
Yeah, that's it. Savannah said, I like Ethan Hawke, but I think I like his ex-wife better. I like Ethan Hawke, too.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a bad actor. I think he's good in this. But he's definitely, like, putting a more elevated performance in this than the kids, but it's kind of appropriate.
Yeah, you kind of have to because I don't want to give things away, but his face is obscured for parts of it. If nobody can see you, how do they know? You have to have big, you have to be over the top to get across your point. If nobody can use any of the other cues we normally get when we communicate with people,
Well, and he's kind of an over-the-top character, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she says, and their daughter is great. Yeah, I liked her in Stranger Things a lot.
Sounds like putting Willem Dafoe in a Green Goblin mask.
Right.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's just great.
He
He
is.
should
Yeah.
overact
Yeah.
all the time.
I want to see Willem Dafoe and Nicolas Cage in something. Does that exist? Because if it doesn't, I want to see it.
I don't know. I don't think
I don't
so.
know that it does, but I feel like if it did, it'd
Big
be something-
eyeballs, both
it'd
of
be-
them.
If it did, it'd be something from like the early '90s where you'd get a big Nicolas Cage, but you'd get a more grounded, like serious Willem Dafoe.
Like an army movie or something.
There was a firefight.
That movie is over the top in every aspect. I don't. Why though? Why, Savannah? Viewers, just take my word for it. So, I also wanted to mention Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. This is a movie I watched on
What's
Shudder.
it about?
Okay. let me give you the synopsis from Letterboxd, which I think pulls it from the movie db.org. After a surprise phone call interrupts his daily workout, beefy bodybuilder Nato agrees to meet his photojournalist ex-girlfriend to help with her research on haunted houses. Accompanied by a professional psychic, they visit an abandoned house once owned by Nato's father. But inside the house, a dark secret lingers, and they find themselves trapped and tormented by a relentless ghost with a 30-year grudge. That's actually, that's a pretty, it's a pretty straightforward synopsis of the plot. The thing is, this movie's also referred to, and it says on the cover art here, AKA the Japanese Evil Dead. And that is a more accurate description of what this is.
Huh.
Let me see if I can find some images. So, hold on one second.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to respond. Savannah says, I like Scott Bakula. I did like Scott Bakula when I was little. And I just wanted to also say, another weird person that I had a crush on when I was little was Julian Sands. And he's missing
Yeah.
in the mountains in California.
Really?
Yeah. So, that's sad. Hopefully they
that's
find
weird.
him soon.
Warlock.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Okay, so this is a 1990s shot on VHS shoestring budget horror movie from Japan that is I would say a loving homage to the Evil Dead. You could say a blatant ripoff, but I don't think that was their goal. Like, I don't think it was, let's rip this off. I think it was, I love this, let's do this. And it is a very low budget, so whatever. Like, the plot I read you is the plot. But the whole thing is get a couple people in this tiny Japanese house, and then there's a deadite. And we're gonna do all the Deadite Evil Dead things. The makeup's gonna look kind of the same. There's gonna be some weird video effects and stuff, but it was ridiculous. And I'm gonna give a spoiler because the spirit of his father at one point tells this guy, because his bodybuilding doesn't really come into it much most of the time. The lead character, who's this, to be honest, the lead character does pretty good at channeling Evil Dead 1 Ash in a way. But his father at one point is because he's how do we get rid of this demon or whatever it is? And he's like, check the basement. I left you a tool. You must chop it to pieces or whatever. And they go to the basement, and he finds a shotgun, which I'm like, that's a weird chopping tool, but whatever.
Yeah.
He finds a shotgun. And then later he ends up in the basement, and he's like, he's looking, and there's a weight set. And he's like, oh. And the father's voice is like, the tool is your body or something like that. And he's like, tool is not, it ain't no gun or something like that, which stuck in my mind. It ain't no gun. Speaking of, this would have been a good segue for the gun violence.
Oh, yeah.
So then he grabs the dumbbells and weights and goes and is attacking this deadite with his dumbbells as like weapons and stuff. And I mean, ironically, eventually it's the shotgun that does the trick. So I'm like, you muddied the message a little bit there.
Yeah.
Bloody muscle bodybuilder in hell, but whatever. They give him a groovy moment where he actually like it does a little thing and he says groovy. So it's straight up. It knows what it is. It's not trying to be anything else. And apparently this was shot in the 90s, edited in 2014, and released in 2017 or something, I think I read. I could be wrong.
That's a long con right there.
So, I think you should watch it. I was sick this last week, or the week before. Whatever week I watched this, I was sick. And I was like, it's pretty good. Like, I'm just going to sit here and watch something. It's pretty good to sit there and watch something material.
Shudder? What's this on?
Shudder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Watch it. I gave it a 3-star. Because it's charming. It's charming.
It's got charm.
It gets a little dull in parts, but it's charming.
Cute.
Well, with a title like that, sounds like it might.
It was honestly better than I expected. Like, I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. Like, you look up the trailer, and that's what it is. But it's like, first off, like, why is the camera so close to everyone's face all the time? But then watching it, it's like, oh, because they're in this tiny, tiny Japanese house shooting on VHS. Like, of course, the camera's right up at everyone's grill all the time. There's no room in there, for one. Mm-hmm. But the effects, even though they're like, think Evil Dead 1, although probably not even the budget that had, with some really questionable, weird video effects occasionally. I just read, Savannah said, it's been fun, but I got a migraine. I'm sorry. That's a review of the podcast. But it's way better done than I expected. Like, the editing was good, and I guess it makes sense if this is something maybe the filmmaker shot in the 90s and then it just like didn't do anything with and then came back later after he's got experience. It's like, let's put this together. I don't know. That I'm guessing that time gap makes me think it's something like that. It was edited well, and there's some fun ideas that's like, they didn't do that in the Evil Dead. Like, they chop up this deadite, right? And that's all very Evil Dead. They even have like the shot with the like disassembled body, and there's parts of it are like wiggling and stuff, just like the Evil Dead. But then like parts of it reassemble, but it's not in the right way. It's like the head attaches to the hand, so it's running around. The head on this hand is running around. A hand attaches to the foot, and so at one point he throws the hand/foot thing across the room. It does a cut, like a close up to it. It flies towards the edge of the counter. Then you see like the foot hit the counter and they like kick off, and then it flies back across and punches him in the face. And I was like,
wow,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You got me on that ridiculous stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. I didn't have anything to say about the black phone, but this, I got things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the black phone is, relatively new, and not relatively, it is new. It's a new movie that people might still want to go see. So we don't want to talk too much about it and spoil stuff.
Speaking of movies that are new and you might want to see, I went to Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to wait a couple more days.
I
I
wanted
could
to
watch
pay
it on. Yeah. I wanted to see it on a big screen, and I wanted to pay
Right.
extra money for it. But yeah, I was like, no, I want to see it on a big screen, and I don't regret it. It was a good. I thought it was a good movie, and I'm kind of surprised that it's not getting more attention. I mean, it's not. It's obviously not Black Panther.
Right.
You know, like what sequel ever is. But it was really well done. I thought all the characters, like this movie was about Wakanda, and it really did a nice job of highlighting lots of characters that are connected to Wakanda and the fallout of not having, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was a really good movie, and I'm just kind of surprised because this ends Phase 4, right? Like, I think Wakanda
I
Forever
suppose
is
so.
kind of like the last movie of Phase 4,
Yeah.
or it's kicking off Phase 5. If it's kicking off Phase 5, that's kind of a weird way to kick it off, but it's like a nice kind of final chapter for Phase 4, though. So
No, I
So
think
let's say
I
that's
think
what it is.
I
Yeah.
think it is though. I think it is the last movie of Phase 4. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've heard it's good. I haven't it didn't set the world
Yeah.
on fire like the first one did. But I'm guessing that tonally it's not quite like the first one. Like
right,
so maybe that's people aren't it's just not getting the same response because I don't know, because of that. I've heard it's good.
This one's dealing obviously more intensely with grief. Not that the first one didn't. I mean, it was literally
you're
about
right.
the death of his father kind of thing, and picking up where his father left off kind of thing. But this is like a kingdom. It's interesting because it plays into like, how does the world feel about Wakanda right now? Because like, who's going to protect you? You have no Black Panther.
Right.
You know, and you just gave us the secret of vibranium, but you're not giving us vibranium,
Right.
and
Well,
now we
do
want
they-
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
I
care
often
what
call Melanie Nerdwick Bozeman. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
It's
but
a
he does all
recurring.
the time.
It's a thing that happens a lot though, and I'm like, I don't know why I do it. It just pops in my head. It's no disrespect to Chadwick Boseman, but it's such a fun name.
It is a fun name.
Right?
So
Sure, he is.
that's been our review of Wakanda Forever.
Well, maybe we'll revisit it. Now that like it'll be on Disney Plus and everybody can see it, and I'll be
Right.
interested to see what you guys think of it without
will.
paying cinema money.
Right. We will watch it. I'm still paying that Disney Plus money. Disney needs your money.
Right.
They want to blow up the sun. No more life. Fuzz bucket.
before we get Mickey Mouse's public domain, they're gonna need to. They're like,
We're only
"Oh,
gonna get
yeah?"
Steamboat. We're only gonna get Steamboat Willie though. You tried making something that doesn't look distinctly Steamboat Willie. If it looks a little bit Mickey, they're gonna put you in court.
In court.
All he can do is whistle. That's his entire thing.
Yep. I wonder how that's gonna go, man. They've been fighting it for so long. They literally have been getting the copyright laws changed
Right.
Yeah.
to keep Mickey. I wonder how that's gonna go. Hey, what's going on, Turner? Thanks for saying hi. I like this. We get Savannah Hobson on Facebook. We get Turner jumping on YouTube. We got spam hitting us up on Twitch. That's about standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Thursday night. You know what that means.
Jesse,
We're gonna get randos.
yeah,
Yeah.
randos. Did you happen to watch The Last of Us? Have you heard of this?
No. I've heard of this.
Okay.
And I heard Pedro Pascal, as usual, is a delight.
Oh, what do you think, Melanie?
No, I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. It sounded disapproving, which I was a little surprised by, but so I had to. I had to
No,
pull
not
on
not,
that
not of
thread.
him. If anything, maybe the kid, but that's only because I don't like her face. And that's just me being mean. But
We watched the first episode. I don't know if has the second episode dropped yet, no? It's on like Sundays or something weird. I think So it might just be the first episode out. I have not looked at reviews, but I think people are enjoying it. I thought it was really good. It's not pleasant though. Like
No, not
With
at
a
all.
title like The Last of Us, you think,
Yeah.
boy, this is going to be really uplifting.
right from the get go. Now I've never played the games. To be clear, like I have never played the games, so I knew kind of the setup with the fungal zombies or whatever, and a little bit about like the basic setup with the girl and stuff. But other than that, I didn't know the games. I didn't know like Joel's character's backstory. But it starts off, and first like it starts off before like everything really goes downhill, and it's just dread. You just feel it. You just know. It's just the
Yeah.
tone of the show. You're like, oh, this is not gonna be good. And then the other thing is like that little girl with him. That's not the girl. What's gonna happen to her, huh? I wonder what's gonna happen to her because she's not the girl. So
Yeah.
like you just know bad things. Bad things are gonna happen. And it does. But I thought it was really good. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see more. Might have to keep paying that. I don't know. I might
I
have
was
to
going
keep
to
paying
say,
that
it's,
HBO
it's
money.
that Amazon money, man. Oh, this is on HBO?
It's HBO Max. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Might have to
Yeah,
keep paying
man.
that.
Why is every streaming service has one?
It's. I think this show in particular is saving them right now.
Right.
Ooh.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
didn't think. I thought I did that before the mute came undone.
It's okay. But I also can like kind of hear you through the door a little bit. She's over there. She's right over there.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear my sneeze attack then?
I heard a little bit of something, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was. Okay, well, yeah, we don't have to go too much into it, but yeah, it's good. I recommend giving it a check. Man, that first episode, I was like, want to watch an episode or something? And then I checked the runtime. I'm like, oh, I guess you want to watch a movie because
Yeah,
it's
no
like an
kidding.
hour and 20
Oh,
minutes.
boy.
It's long. I
How
was
many
like, holy crap.
episodes is it going to be? Is it going to be like a Sherlock kind of thing where you get like 6, but they're movie length?
I don't know.
Or is
That's a
it
good
just the
question.
opener is like a pilot movie?
We don't know yet.
Season 1.
The little beginning speech is great though. They've got 2 scientists on some TV show talking about viruses or something, I think, or maybe whatever, bacteria, diseases. And the one guest is like, I don't think it's gonna be viruses or bacteria. It's gonna be fungus. And they're like, oh. And then he makes it sound so believable because there's already funguses that do the thing with like the ants,
Right.
and where they take them over and stuff.
Like a
they-
mycelial network kind of thing.
Yeah, and so he's like, but the reason they don't take over people is because our body temperature is too high. But if, say, the world was warming and they had to evolve, then there's no reason that they wouldn't be able to, once they could stand the temperatures inside of us. So I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I don't know. You were science checking him. I think
bit.
that's a super clever way to do the exposition. Just a quick it's like a random like TV 60s takes place in the 60s TV show. Here's the setup. Here's the thing that could happen, and then you jump to like 2004, and then we're following characters, and it's like, okay, that's super. I don't know. It just seemed like a smart way to like, here's the setup. We're not going to get into like the characters wouldn't know the science of what's happening necessarily, and if they did, like, it's not like they're going to be talking about it all the time.
Right.
So like, boom, here's the thing that could happen. Now we're with their characters we're actually following.
That's interesting to go with like 2000. You said 2004?
Well, okay,
Uh-huh.
so 2004, and then there's another time jump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
But
still,
2000
it hits in 2004. When
Yeah.
does it
Yes.
basically take over?
So it's interesting. 2004 it hits, and then it jumps 20 years. So 2024, or maybe it was 2000. I don't know. So then it's basically now. So it's kind of alternate now.
Sure.
Alternate
Yeah.
universe now.
Did the original game come out in 2004? Do we know?
No, it would have been after that. I mean, it's kind of old at
Okay.
this point, but it wouldn't have been. It would have been after that.
Okay. I was just wondering. Because that would have made,
That would have been an interesting Easter egg.
yeah. But
2013, I think.
But yeah, it doesn't really ever. I mean, you see it start, and then after it jumps, it's basically done, and it's just the people that are left. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah. It's time. I'm assuming the game does similar things. I don't know how close it is to the game.
They missed out on COVID. Lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little fungal zombie apocalypse gets you out of COVID.
It's just the last of us, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. The little bit of the first episode.
No January 6th riots. Lucky.
The little bit of the what we've seen in the first episode of like what the current world, what the modern world is. It does not seem like a good place, though. It's definitely, it's in terms of like it kind of, I guess in a way reminds me of Soylent Green or something, right? Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
just the way it's set up, it's like, it's not a pleasant world to be in.
It depends though, because there's factions of humans. Even now, with the apocalypse.
Apocalypse! It's apocalypsing off!
Right. Even with that, there's still factions of people.
It's the soda
And-
wars all over again. Coke versus Pepsi. Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But,
we're
I mean,
decimated.
the ones that you start off with once you do the time jump are the government or government/military. So of course they're going to be more, I don't know, strict and dystopian like.
Right.
It's just like Resident Evil, but less corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I dig it. I feel like the game is one of those games that's, the games, I should say, plural, are heralded as having like, amazing stories, aka it's going to be depressing because that's when a game,
Right.
like when it can break through and make people feel a thing, then they're like, this game is art. Like Red
Yeah.
Dead, man. Red Dead 2, awesome. I love the game, but like that first playthrough, at a certain point, I'm like, this game's just making me depressed all the time. Like,
Yeah.
it's so depressing.
Randy's like, "You want to come watch my character get tuberculosis?" I'm like, "Oh man."
Yep.
I thought Oregon Trail was brutal.
It's, dude. Second playthrough, I'm like, I can save him. Rockstar, let me put a mask on. Spoilers, they don't let you. They will disable
come
it.
on. Bandanas, man.
Like, you can put a mask on normally in the game because you're a Wild West cowboy robbing people. Nope.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Not when it matters. I got you.
Red Dead spoilers aside. So The Last of Us always, like, I was, well, it was PlayStation only for a long time, but I was intrigued by it, but I'm like, this is going to be a depressing game. I'm good.
Right.
But whatever.
I think I did play. They had like what were the ones like we did with the fairy tale one with the big bad wolf. Remember that, Randy? Those games.
Oh, Telltale.
Fable?
Yeah, there you go.
Telltale games.
Yeah, I did one of those with The Last of Us. I think.
No, that was Walking Dead.
No, I'm not with you by myself.
I'm so where?
With my not by myself with my nephew.
Oh yeah, no, he probably played it or played something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm sure he did play it. I just meant I think I played a Telltale game with him of The Last of Us.
I'm confused by all that, but I will take you for your word for it. No, I don't think it's Telltale Games then that what we're talking about, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay. It was a choose your own adventure, or not choose your own adventure, but where
Point
they
and
give you the
click.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Telltale does a lot of different things. Like they did Tales from Borderlands, which is actually Gearbox, but Telltale
Okay.
did one, so who knows?
Doesn't matter. So.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah.
Hey, they're making a Tron 3.
I saw
Really?
that. I did see that. But guess who's gonna be in it?
Why does he have to be?
I don't know.
Jared Leto?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Because when I think of Tron, and who could carry that franchise forward?
Why?
Why does everybody hate on Jared Leto so much? I mean, I don't think he's good necessarily, but I don't think he's horrible.
I don't know why either, but I don't like seeing
Mainly
his name.
just because he isn't good. And they keep trying.
Or like it's because he's pretentious, man, because he's pretentious. All that
That I
Joker stuff, like not even just his version of the Joker, which I didn't like anyway, but like all that like behind the scenes method actors, like what's method about Joker sending a rat to somebody? That's not method. If that's method, he clearly does not understand the character he's playing. Like
Right.
that's just being weird is not method.
Yeah, it couldn't just be. It'd have to be a rat with like something inside of it that explodes out or something. That would be
And
the Joker.
confetti. There
Yeah.
you go. I would accept that. Did he do that? I don't think so. That'd been too good.
No.
Who knows? In 10 years, maybe we'll be talking about him like we talk about Nicolas Cage.
Maybe.
It'll be adoration
likely.
for days.
I don't think he's got the face for that.
Right. He definitely doesn't have the Willem Dafoe eyes
Yeah.
for it.
Oh, sorry. Simon Pegg wraps filming The Boys season 4.
Oh,
Share set
good.
photo. I didn't. That's irrelevant. The headline is pretty much the whole story.
Right?
But The Boys season 4. Man, good.
Woohoo!
Keep going.
Yeah.
Amazon hasn't screwed us yet. The Boys is one of those shows where I'm like, it's so good. It can't
Yeah.
last, right?
Right.
It can't
Right.
last. But maybe that's just because we've been conditioned by Netflix and
Right.
Yeah.
HBO.
Well,
And-
and all of the Amazon shows were kind of like, for a long time. And now it's like, oh, that one's good. Oh, this one was good too.
When's Invincible coming back?
I know, right?
Oh, wow.
What?
3 hours ago, they debuted their first look at season 2. Good
Oh.
timing. See, we're on the cutting edge of news.
Timely, not timeless.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're not timeless. And when we're timely, we're usually wrong.
Let me tell you about a great Tekken movie that will be coming soon.
Oh, wait. I hate this.
I hate this.
Prime Video announced that the trailer will be released on January 20th at
What?
6 o'clock, 10:43 a.m. What? 6 o'clock to 10:43 a.m.? What? What? That's not a time. That's a half the day.
And then
Yeah.
after that, it disappears. They're building scarcity.
Invincible's third season is already in production, though. So, that's news from last year, technically. Timely.
Tekken 2.
Oh man, it's because Grawlix has become unstuck in time. Also, that 90 show just hit Netflix, I think,
Yeah.
and from what I understand, it's getting very good reviews.
Yeah, one of my friends messaged me about it, and I was like, yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I probably won't. I might, but probably not.
It seems like it could go so wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
And I know how the 90s were. They can't capture that.
It'd be really weird and hard to.
well, and I think this is one they do any time period. It's probably true of any time they set a thing in the 80s or they set a thing in the 70s, although the black phone yeah, in its set design and kind of music choices, it's like it's the 70s, but like I didn't feel necessarily like even the color grading of the film was like kind of period appropriate, but it didn't feel hokey to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some things, like in the 90s, they did the 60s miniseries, and like anytime they do like a nostalgia period piece, it's apparently a fine line to walk before diving into just like sickeningly sweet, like over the top version of.
Well, that 70s show was like airing in the 90s, right? So
Oh yeah, I mean that
like,
was
it's the
like,
most 90s thing possible to reference the 70s.
right, because it's that 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's only appropriate that now we're getting the 90s show. One of the reviews, I read one review, and it said like it doesn't go over the top with the 90s isms, because kind of one of my criticisms of Fear Street, Fear Street movies, is part of that took place in the 90s, and like I get that they were like it was supposed to be kind of a meta commentary on like 90s movies cramming a bunch of commercial music in, but like it just would hit you with like 90 song after 90 song after 90 song after 90 song. Like you'd get 15 seconds of like Cypress Hill, and then it as just scene music, and then it'd go straight into Radiohead, and it's like what's going on? And so if they don't go that over the top with it, that's probably good. And from what I understand, it's not too crazy, at least so far, with the 90s references.
Okay. Is everybody depressed?
I don't know.
Well, they should be.
beaten down by their boomerisms.
In the 90s, everyone was depressed.
Yeah.
We stopped caring about much of anything.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's only... I don't know why, because now it's forgivable. Now it's reasonable.
Right. We were just getting ready. We were having our midlife crisis early.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a song called "I'm Only Happy When It Rains," and it was hit.
Yeah.
That was the 90s.
And then Brandon Lee died in a movie where he said it can't rain all the time.
Yeah. So
The Crow's.
Why are we even here?
You know what's disgusting about now
what's that?
is that 90s attitude is so appropriate. But you look at like trends, it's so disgusting, and like I don't know, man. It's like they're trying not to be depressed. Just stop it. Stop it, current world. Just accept it.
Yeah.
You all know.
I don't know. I think that they are. I think that it's more that not that people aren't depressed, but that it is that people are accepting that people are depressed, and people aren't trying to like hide it or cover it up anymore. They're just like, oh well, I have depression and anxiety and whatever and this
Did
and
we
that.
cover it up very well? I think we were just like a low grade gray. Is how it felt like the 90s, where it was just
we
like...
didn't cover it up, but like my parents, when I had depression when I was little, my parents hated that. They didn't. I was always supposed to smile and pretend like I was happy because that's just the way that they were raised or something.
Right.
And now we don't have that. Like my sister's kids are depressed, then she's like, then cry if you're sad, let it out, whatever. But just don't give up, And that's the thing that is better about now. I think the reason that it's not, I don't know, I don't think it's too bad. The attitudes of right now, for the most part.
The world is burning, and you get to inherit it.
Just give up. Just give up. Don't give up, but don't pretend.
Yeah.
Stop with all these colors. Why is it got to be so colorful all the time? What is he? Flannels? Black clothes.
Next week, our Grawlix podcast logo will be decidedly different.
It's just going to be...
We have the most colorful logo ever, and Randy wants that to die.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's like the Gloomies from Rainbow Bright.
See,
Remember that nugget from the 80s? That was preparing us for now.
If you wondered what happened to
I love
Grawlix
the
Prime
movies.
and why we're Knights now, at least Knights is just like it's like blue gray brick wall and neon lights. That's the future the '90s promised me. Where is it?
Right.
Grawlix Prime is like it's super colorful, color gradients. Look at this.
Yeah.
Splash. 3-color process magic.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Oh, you know what else is amazing?
What?
Horses. No, not just horses. Schwals.
Horses. Wow, that's a Jesse's doing a callback that nobody else is good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Schwalskis. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Horse.
Are you sure?
Or Taki, which is how we'll refer to them from now on, is a stocky horse species native to Asia.
Okay.
They're extinct in the wild, but there are about 2,000 of them in zoos thanks to conservation efforts. But all of those horses descend from the same 12 wild horses. So this lack of genetic diversity could drive the species into extinction. But luckily, in 1972, the San Diego Zoo started the world's first frozen zoo, and 40 years ago, they added the DNA of Koporovic, which was a male Taki. So, the zoo partnered with Viagen Equine, which is a company that clones horses. And on August 6th, a surrogate gave birth to a happy, healthy Taki named Kurt, after the guy who started the frozen zoo. And hopefully, when he matures, he'll mate with the others and add some diversity to the species.
So, how old was this DNA that they used to clone this horse?
It had been frozen for 40 years.
There we go. That's the hook. 40-year-old DNA used to clone a almost extinct horse.
Yeah.
I feel like they buried the lead on this. There is a company that clones horses.
Yes, there is.
I thought you were going to go with, there's a frozen zoo.
That too. And the idea behind the frozen zoo is the opposite of let it go.
You're right.
That's true.
Like, keep it here. we'll clone it in 40 years.
Yep.
Sorry. I had
Well,
the
they're
rhyme
also
with
working
that.
on...
Cold never bothered me anyway.
Scientists have been working on cloning, like, a woolly mammoth and at least 2 or 3 other species for a while, but they haven't... it hasn't worked yet. This is the...
The
as
best
far
they
as I
got
know-
was a fuzzy mammoth. It's not woolly at
So
all.
their idea of
No,
cloning
I don't
horses
know.
is really broad.
I mean, yeah. I think for the most part they do pet horses, but they might do like competitive horses, which seems more likely to me actually. Like a clone a racing horse or something, so that you can have another good racing horse, something like that. But apparently there's enough. If you can own a horse, if you can afford to own a horse, I should say, you can afford to clone it. Come on, because horses are not cheap.
I think the wild... No, I agree with Jesse. I think the wild thing is like that there's a... that cloning is common enough that there's a company whose business is cloning horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's because we heard about Dolly back in the 90s, which I know was kind of what sparked your, like, why aren't you amazed whole thing.
Yes, because people didn't react. They freaking cloned a thing. It's the future, and people didn't even react to it really barely. And I was like, what is wrong with you people? Sorry.
No, I agree, and it is amazing. And I feel like there's that story, and then it fell off the cliff. But apparently, people still, like, 20 something years later.
There's tons of companies that will clone pets. You just can't clone people yet. Yeah. Oh, and also, they recently cloned the first extinct species, which is a wolf species from the Arctic. That was extinct, and it just had its first cub. I think it's, or not just had it, I think it's like 100 days old now. So, yeah. That one was actually extinct. This one is only about to be extinct, maybe. So, but yeah.
I want a dodo.
What are
I
the
know.
funguses like?
Funguses are disgusting, by the way.
Funguses are amazing.
They're disgusting.
They're closer to genetically to humans than they are to plants.
That's why they're disgusting.
That actually might be why they're disgusting.
Maybe, I don't know, but the biggest organism on the planet is a fungus. And they have a mushroom in Washington or Oregon, I can't remember, that's like the size of a tree. And that's freaking amazing, and I want to go see it.
Ew. I am amazed by the horse story, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple layers.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad they're trying to get the DNA of stuff to, so that the planet doesn't completely run out of species when we ruin it.
That's fair.
And the beavers. The beavers ruin it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They're just speeding us up. They're just like, hey, you humans want to destroy a world? Let's go.
We'll win.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Because they're beavers.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
They do.
Um,
All right. Well, hey. Jesse, you got anything else you want to mention this episode?
No, I don't think so. But wait, there's more. Humble Bundle has a lot of cool stuff. I noticed that they had like a music making one, and I don't know if it's good, but it looked like it had some stuffs
I'm going to look.
that maybe even Randy would be into. I don't know.
Listeners and viewers, if you want to also look, you should look using our affiliate link. It's super easy. Grawlix Podcast. Why is it super easy? Because Grawlix is not the easiest thing to spell. GRAWLAX podcast.com/humble. That'll redirect you to Humble Bundle.
And if you've made it this far, you must love us enough that you might want to help support us.
Yeah. And if you don't, then you should still do it because it's for charity, not just us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do have some interesting stuff. There's stuff with plugins. I like to see that. I'm hoping that becomes more of a trend because I am kind of a music plugin junkie, and I will buy up some Humble Bundles for some plugins. But yeah, get into Music Variety Pack, and that actually has some plugins. And plugins are you use it in your audio software, and you can play it like an instrument. Or it can be an effect as well.
Or if you have a MIDI controller, you can combine them and then do weird stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. I know things.
Man. I was going to, around Halloween, record a performance of the Halloween theme song. And I do quotations because it would be a performance, but like I can't play, I don't know, however many tracks, 16 tracks at once with my hands. But with a keyboard and Launchpad, and I had everything. I was practicing, and I bought a scientist outfit. It was for Halloween, and then I had that horrible like tooth infection, and I was like, I'm not doing none of it. So
right. Yeah, nothing's worse than a tooth infection, though. Like tooth pain's the worst pain.
Yeah.
And you got some awesome like steampunk goggles out of it, so.
I did. They're great. It's because it's for super science. You can't super science without the appropriate eyewear. Yeah. Of course, I got my headphones on, so I can't put them on. So.
Right.
You've got to look like a 1930s German doctor or scientist.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best, but that's what you got to look like when you're doing super science.
That's right.
Yeah.
Humblebundle.com /? Grawlix or something. I don't know how the actual affiliate link is. You can't just tell people that.
Yeah. Go to grawlixpodcast.com and then hit the affiliate link from there.
Yeah, I do have banners on there. Yeah, that's all I got. It's January.
I've got tons, but it's not appropriate for this show, so let's not.
All right. Hit us up on the podcast feed. There's an episode up there. You weren't here last week for the stream. I know you weren't. So go listen to the audio version. It's not the whole thing.
So you'll be able to get through it. Is
That's
what
the
we're
selling
saying.
point. It's not the whole thing.
It's not the
We
whole
actually
thing.
Trimmed it to
It's
the
the
main
good
content.
stuff. It's the good. It's the best parts.
It's just the it's just the
It's
good
not
stuff.
the part where we tell you about Humble Bundle. That's for sure.
No, nope, it's not. It's not. It is.
Man.
I did what?
Can you imagine if we didn't edit our beginning episodes? They would be like 3 hours long.
Some of them were 3 hours long,
Oh, goodness gracious.
Some of the
Oh
early
my
ones
God!
were like
Who
3 hours
does
long.
that?
and that was edited. We used to record for like 4 hours sometimes,
Yeah, you know, it's nuts.
and we'd be like, "Well, we only do one episode a month, so it's okay if it's super stupidly long."
Right.
What a harebrained idea.
That was a great business model we had.
It was so bad. Eventually, not that anybody cares, what we ended up doing is we'd record just as long, but then we'd record like 2 episodes. We'd record 2 episodes at once, so we could split
Right.
it in half and
Yeah.
do every other week. Then we started doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did
know-
better when we were actually like at noontime.
Oh, the Lunchbox Lives.
Yeah.
Those were fun. I
Those were
just
fun.
don't. Yeah, I just wish Castbox was a better platform, maybe,
I agree.
Right.
where people couldn't just randomly call you, and you'd have to constantly be like, "Nope, nope,
Yep.
nope."
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's that idea of novel on paper, but super. I mean, I guess all you'd have to do is ask any radio station ever in the history of time that takes call-ins, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, is it a good idea if those people can just call in and like connect automatically?" It's like, no,
To the host of the show.
we have someone
Without a
dedicated that
screener?
screens them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
like,
say like every radio show has somebody that screens the people, and even
And-
then they still get weirdos getting through.
well, and you don't have to like click to let them in, but like you can't screen them.
Right.
Like the screening them is during the stream, so
Yeah. It all happens live. So you either have to know them or
it's one of-
Yeah.
that's how you try to do a podcast editing Q&A. It gets derailed by some guy buying a pack of cigarettes while he's talking to you on the stream. It's like, oh, why you talking to me while you're trying to buy a pack of cigarettes in some convenience store? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Who does that? Who's listening
what was
to a
that?
live
Was that Pillow Fort? Like that's what, I mean, I don't know. There's these different like ideas that just haven't taken off, and it's like, oh, that would have been perfect for Pillow Fort, but then Pillow Fort didn't
right?
really do its thing.
Twitter kind of became a mess, but like Twitter had Twitter Spaces or has Twitter Spaces, and that was kind of intriguing to me. Like, there's these social networks try different things, but like, I don't know, man.
We should make our own social network, and it'll be great, and everybody should come to it.
I think we've had this conversation before. Is it going to be called the
Yeah.
Antisocial Network and no one's allowed?
Yes, right. Yeah, I believe so. It is going to be great because no one will be there.
Yep.
No.
We won't tell you about it. You can't be our friend.
I think the
I'm gonna
problem,
use ChatGPT and make my own social network, and you guys are invited.
the other wall I run into with some of the new things that I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, or I'll even get randomly emailed like, invite to this beta, this new like live stream social network thing, and I'll go and check. It's like mobile only, and not even just mobile only, Apple only. And I'm like, dude,
Right.
what are you doing?
This is more complicated than Mastodon. And just as limited.
Right. I wonder how Mastodon's doing. I haven't been there for a while. I bet they got a huge influx.
Oh, I'm
Of
sure they did.
non-exist- of
And then they
users
were
that
like,
then died
people were
out.
like, I don't know how to sign up. Did I sign up? Have I signed up 6 times? What's happening? Why isn't there a clone of a woolly mammoth yet?
Right.
I'm gonna make a new place called My Dimension. Like MySpace,
Oh,
only
I
it's
get
not
it.
because then that'd be illegal.
Right.
How did
Yep.
maybe the MySpace name is just cursed at this point, but how did some company not swoop in and buy MySpace and actually turn it into something useful.
I think they tried, but they just like
Oh, it's changed hands so many times.
nobody has been able to do it. Like somebody was like, "Oh, we'll bring it back to its roots and use it to like promote music again." I'm like, well, no, well, that only works if people go there.
Right.
And you'd almost need somebody with a massive influx of money that could like throw together a like sponsored concert thing like Pepsi used to do in the summer, like the summer of Pepsi, and it would be like a concert series or something.
And some things like I hopped over to Tumblr for a hot second. I was like, I'm going to do Tumblr again. And I like Tumblr. It's got kind of some of the same elements. Like you can make your own website version of it, although I don't feel like most people actually ever click through to see that.
Right.
But you can still just follow people and get posts in a timeline. It's kind of like Twitter or Facebook without the algorithm. Like I like that. But it feels like it's cumbersome. It's got a little bit of the Facebook problem where it just feels like, or Windows problem for that matter, where it just feels like features pasted on top of features, pasted on top of features, where it's like, you're just like adding systems without integrating any of them together, you know? Like that's just, and that's not the case necessarily, but that's how it feels. And that's where something like Twitter like really nails like, boom, it's Twitter. It's all right there. You know, like, it's not a bunch of convoluted systems pasted and loosely duct taped to each other. Facebook's the worst, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey,
You can find us on Facebook. If you go to you can go to us on Facebook.com/Grawlix Podcast or groups/Grawlix Podcast.
wow, it's great.
We love you.
I hate Facebook, what they've done. I've got to say, go to our page, like it. We post there sometimes, except for not that often because now it's a pain because you actually have to switch like it's a completely different login. Like it's
Yeah,
not
like
even
you're
your
a person.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's like corporations are people. Where'd they get that idea? Facebook.
When are you just gonna die? Facebook.
Come on, Elon Musk. Buy them.
Man, they just need to strip it back, peel it back. Simplicity is key. Thanks, everybody. Wow, this went off the rails.